Hello and welcome to yet another edition of Three Live Canes. As always, I am Chris. There's the box that says it. The box over there says Bill Canes Legacy. That's up him. That's him right there. And down there, that's Steve-O in a box. I'm here to talk to you guys about another week in Miami Hurricanes football. This one, we're coming off the heels of another victory for Miami, who proved 2-0 on their currently top 5 ranked season. And we head into what maybe we didn't know was going to be as important of a matchup. A couple weeks ago, we did the all season preview to a top 20 bout against USF after they destroyed the Florida Gators, just ran them out of the building. At least that's how it certainly seems on social media with how people are jumping on the Billy Napier hate train. But USF knocked off the Gators, so Miami's going to play them. Number 5 versus number 18. That's got a lot of juice. And then a 4:30 kickoff on the CW, your classic home for college sports. But before we talk about all that kind of fun stuff, Bill, how are we doing today?
I'm big chilling. Nice stress-free weekend of watching college football. Got to watch the Gators get upset. And then even, next week after Miami beats USF, you can watch reruns of Buffy the Vampire Slayer on the CW. So it's an all-around great weekend.
Steve, are you a big Buffy the Vampire Slayer fan?
Nay. No, not really.
In your casual time, Steve-O, you say, I'm just going to watch some TV. Is it predominantly anime?
Most likely, yeah. I don't really. I mean, unless I'm watching live sports, then.
What was the last non-anime TV show you watched, Steve-O?
Oh, me and my girl watch shows. What's the last show you watched? I got her watching anime now, so I can't remember. But yeah, I can't remember. I'm just ready for football season.
By the end of this show, Steve, I'm gonna need to know what that is. So if you have to send a text message, you got to do that.
I got you. She's watching. She'll text me and let me know. I know we watched a couple, but
all right, it's definitely like this summer I turned pretty or something like that.
No, we watched The 100 on Netflix, Reacher on Prime. We watched something else that was like on this at some national park. I forgot.
Oh yeah, I know the way you're talking about.
He's like a detective at a national park. It was like this new big show. It was like Netflix #1 show. It only had like 6 episodes. Yeah. Wednesday, she watched Wednesday. She was like, "Oh, you got to start watching Wednesday with me." I see the meal at Wendy's. They always ask me if I want her meal of misfortune. I go, "No, let me get." And then
I got you. I mean, yeah, that's a lot of the shows that are out there now. Not too great. If I could just plug a show, you guys have ever seen Tires? Tires is hilarious. Never saw it, Bill? It's with Shane Gillis.
I don't even know what that is.
It's with Shane Gillis, like a comedy. It's Steve-O, it's hysterical. I can plug it for you there. Get on that. Ignore the fact that he's a Notre Dame fan and he's the star of the show, but you'll enjoy it. It's all right. But besides TV shows, Steve, how are you feeling tonight?
Big vibing. It's going to be a great day. I think there's some, a lot of more juice about this game than previously, and I think that's fun for everybody. I mean, yeah, USF, credit to them. They beat Boise State and they beat Florida at home, and credit to them. I mean, when I'm watching football, just trying to see anything, and if I see a USF game, I usually tend to watch it, things like that. I like their offense. I got 2 the youngins on that team, so I'm definitely rooting for their overall success. But it definitely feels better to have like some weight to this game. Like, oh, it's not just USF. I know we beat them 50-15 last year, but just the national perception around USF is at an all-time high. Obviously, they're starting the year off strong. So I just love to be the guys to just go ahead and pop that bubble real quick. Just, you guys are probably going to have a great season in your conference, no doubt about that. They're probably going to be, a contender for maybe that G5 playoff spot. Who knows? But we're going to pop that bubble quick. Who's the best team in the state? That type of conversation. Yeah. We're gonna. It feels great. And I'm excited to see it live. 4:30. That's not a bad time. Getting some good, good tailgating in. Hopefully the weather is not going to be too bad. It's going to be bad. I'm just letting you know. But yeah, I'm excited to get out there.
It's kind of stuff you want to see. It's another exciting Saturday for Miami Hurricane fans and another big matchup and see what Miami can do in a season, and especially an early season that is chock full of them, as we'll see coming in the near week. So, hey, big show. It's a good lot to talk about. Thank you guys for joining us here on a Wednesday night for 3 Live Canes.
This is for the national championship for Nebraska.
He's a stud, that Brown, number 98.
Irvin's got it. Irvin's free.
Slips to the outside, tries to stiff arm, but he couldn't get by Ray Lewis.
Big time players. Step up in big game.
Hurt, dog. Don't ask me for more. Hell no. Husker up to the races. That's what they needed.
That's Ricks going up for Thorpe, and it's intercepted near midfield. Sean Taylor's got another one.
Who else?
Who else but Sean? Who else but us? And who else but some of the guys in the chat so far? CF Kane fan, Key Hart, Cesar Iglesias, all showing up. Thank you guys for watching the show. CF Kane fan says if we can get through the next 3, we will have a great resume for the CFP, beating 3 top 25 teams. Just keep adding on to it as best you can. We certainly have the opportunity. Like I said, an early season slate for Miami where there's plenty of games to go out there and win and impress people. And at the end of the day, it probably matters the most how it goes with the ACC stuff in particular, but I mean, it sure doesn't hurt to do some of this damage to these teams that are out of the conference either. So, see how this all shakes out. But I mean, just think right now, if looking at this question or this comment here, just think of national perception of Miami at the moment, because beating Notre Dame certainly added a lot of stock to what Mario has been able to do, because last year there were still some people saying, oh, yeah, but they still did this. They won a lot of games, but then they still screwed it up and blah, blah, blah. And now year 2 of that rise here to show from the beginning of the season that we're doing it. This is a very big game, because can't be one that Miami blows knowing what's going on. So just generally your thoughts about where Miami sits right now in that national conversation.
I do think the CFP hype and all that is all about for us to use to our media and recruiting, full drive on that, because it really doesn't matter if we win the ACC or at least very least in the ACC championship game, we're in the playoffs. So that's definitely the goal. And we have yet to play a conference game, but the national perception is great. I mean, you're recruiting kids in the state of Florida, you beat Florida at home. You beat them last year, so you get to say, hey, we just read up with them for 2 years, beat them 2 years in a row. USF, they're little bros. We just did them 2 years in a row. And then obviously we have Florida State. We beat them. It's like, it's 2 years in a row. So that's really Mario's dominance over the state. So I would say that national perception is a big thing, but also just throughout the state, for the kids and blue chippers coming up, they know who the top dog in the state is. It's just like a very similar relationship, not as much universities in Georgia, but Georgia Tech, we're trying to get it to that type of level. It's probably never going to get there, but we could make it as close to that as possible.
Yeah. Bill, thoughts on that?
Yeah, I think it goes without saying you can't lose this next one, but you're going to be in three primetime games, these next 3 ones, which puts us at 4 out of the first 5, where there's a lot of attention on you. So you already put out a good showing. You beat Notre Dame. Bethune is what it is. You got the big game on the CW with USF. And then a Florida team that is either going to come in a wounded animal, or they're going to come in, thinking they're national championship contenders again, depending on what they do against LSU. But either way, rivalry, that's going to be a 7 or 7:30 game. And then, probably an undefeated Florida State, where you go up to Tallahassee. So, you beat these games. You're already number 5, right? You're already up there. But you beat, you run the table for these Florida teams, and Mario pounding the table last year, talking about the trajectory of the programs. I think that will come to fruition, and there won't be any doubt about that.
But does Florida State have anybody before they get us? I don't know what their schedule is.
Virginia.
Yeah.
So that's their only team that they're playing. They did play Bama early on, so you already knew. The rest is they kind of that
I think
cupcake.
they have a bye. Let me just double check.
Because I mean, not that we were any different. Notre Dame, boom, Bethune. You know what I'm saying? USF.
Yeah, there is. I mean, there's 3 weeks in there, right? There's
They
week,
got
next week and week after.
they got Kent State this week, and then at Virginia before us.
Yes. So they open up with conference play just a week before. All right.
Yeah, Kent State. Like, so then the thought of that game. Like, speaking of juice added to a game, if Miami gets the job done with what they have to do, and then Florida State gets the job done with what they have to do. I don't want to look ahead, but they talk about juice. That's going to be one for sure if both teams are still in the conversation.
If both teams are on the field, that's an automatic college game day in Tallahassee. I think that's awesome because, having college game day with Miami, no matter if it's – I wish obviously it would be a home game, but if it's an away game, we could still get college game day. I mean, that's just stupid important to be the poster boy of, ESPN for an entire day. When it comes to branding and pushing that rivalry, and if you're talking about conference realignment for people like me who are stupid involved in college sports in general, the viewing, the ratings of that, would probably help Miami in those type of situations and those type of deals, especially now with the new revenue sharing model in the ACC. It'll be really good benefit if college game day could be at that game.
For sure. And again, like that national profile, you could talk Clemson, you could talk Florida State all you want, and the people try to do their best to push Miami out of that conversation. That's the one thing I've noticed the most is that people will talk till they're blue in the face about where North Carolina is in that national conversation or where Virginia is in the national conversation. And obviously Florida State and Clemson, but people don't want to talk about where Miami is in that conversation. They love to just leave us on the side of that realignment talk and pretend that we're not a brand that anyone cares about. Meanwhile, we led the ACC in viewership last year for a reason, because Miami has fans all over the country in a way that these other schools do not. Yeah. There's no Clemson fans in New York City. There were a couple years ago when they were winning. They went whatever many out of 3 or 3 out of whatever, but not right now. I promise you that. Miami's a whole different conversation.
Yeah, they got a K Klubnik jersey out there right now.
Yeah, very little of those. But I guarantee you there were kids, out here in Jersey, kids in New York, kids in Pennsylvania, kids in California who were doing this when they were scoring touchdowns last year.
Kids in Idaho.
Yeah. With triple option scoring those touchdowns. Those fullbacks in out there doing it. But yeah, so very different conversation. Our Lord Bakington III is here.
Hear he.
Yeah, we can get the show really rolling here. So Miami, go last week and go into the future next week. Knocked off Bethune in a matchup. You knew how it was going to go. I don't think anything really stood out as far as surprises. I know that there was a point where we were like, we're really rolling with these ones into this game. These guys are getting a lot of time in this game, and keep momentum, keep the juice going. But I mean, Bill, I'll go to you first. Anything about this game that surprised you? Anyone stand out outside of what you were expecting going into it?
I was a little frustrated with Bethune essentially milking the clock every time, letting it get down to 5 seconds before they snapped it. We talked about last week. I really wanted to see all the quarterbacks get reps, but it just the way the game played out. It was more limited possessions, but Pringle had his explosive run. Bryce Fitzgerald made a nice interception in the end zone, which changed the trajectory of our score prediction, which I'll get to later. That was a big one, but overall, I don't really think you're gonna walk away thinking anything differently positive or negative about this team. It's obviously a complete overmatch from a physical standpoint, from a talent standpoint, but we did what we had to do. No injuries. I don't think anyone looked bad. Guys got reps. It's pretty much time put it behind us and move on.
And Steve, I know you're always a big proponent of fans showing out for this game, because this is where you see the young guys come out and really support those guys that a lot of those fans supported when they were high schoolers a couple years before in the local schools and all. So what were your thoughts on this one?
It was great to be there. It wasn't crazy as packed as Notre Dame, but it was better than I thought Bethune was going to be. So I was happy that Hard Rock turned out a little bit, expecting an even better crowd this week versus USF. But it was great, to be honest. And I know people were like, oh my God, we have starters in, but young guys were rotating in early and often. So, yeah, the starters were kind of in a little bit into the second half, but that's because they were rotating in the first half. I mean, Donta Simpson was getting reps. He was in the backfield with Mesidor in this first quarter. I mean, these guys were rotating early and often, and then they just stopped rotating back in. But it's exactly what you wanted to see. Carson Beck, seen his guy CJ, wanted to make a play, gave it to him for the tutty. See your guy CJ in 2 minutes. So I love the 2-minute drill, working the clock and then scoring with a touchdown in the red zone to CJ. I think a lot of red zone monster mayhem is in his future for us. Crazy how he didn't have a touchdown for LSU last year. Already has 3 in 2 games, 2 spectacular catches, one just, a really good, outstretching ball on the post. So, yeah, nothing really. Oh my God, I'm not going to change my opinion about this team for the better or the worse versus Bethune. Found out like right before the game, buddy, the head coach from Bethune was coaching at Oregon with Mario. So when I heard that, I was like, damn, I should have took the under, because I'm like, Coach Mario is just not the type to do it to his own people. So when I seen Bethune kind of like milking that clock literally in the first quarter, waiting till 5 seconds with some momentum, like making an early play, still waiting for 5 seconds on the clock to snap it. I was like, yeah, they had a conversation prior to that game, and Coach Mario didn't want to hurt his guys' team because they have, a whole season for them to play for. So definitely would have took the under if I knew that, because I took that over for sure. I was like, Josh Gaddis put 70 up, man. We're going crazy on Bethune this time. But, yeah, I heard that in the parking lot. I was like, nah. How many years he worked with Mario? 3? Somebody said 4. I was looking around like, nah, he ain't gonna do his mans like that. There was not to be. But some guys, obviously popped out. Ruben Bain, a bunch of guys. Love the way we saw Lightfoot pop off the football. I liked some of this stuff early versus Notre Dame, but looking like he's going to be a consistent piece in that presence on the edge. So very happy about that. Seeing Lightfoot kind of have that hustle. Obviously, Bryce Fitzgerald, someone I've been trying to tell you guys about for a very long time. Had him getting an interception early in his season, coming off his man from the other side all the way over. Very impressive. Malley was Malley. You saw that, but not really too much opportunities. We've seen Emory get in. Josh Moore, in my opinion, should have had a tutty, so I was very disappointed with that, especially since I just thought that was probably Emory's best throw as like a hurricane. like literally that might have been his best throw as a hurricane. When it flew up, when it left his hand, I was like, oh my God, he threw that with intention. Usually, Emory has that lollipop, that kind of like high arcing, type of ball. That ball had some zip. It got there. When your receiver's running and he's going to run out of real estate, get into that back of the end zone. I was very impressed with that throw. He had another post shot that was to Ray. I would have loved to see him make that pass, man. Maybe trying to overcompensate, trying to show everybody that he's definitely put some work in. You see him pull that zone read and run out of there. What's good, fam? So you can see the work that Emory's put in, but you would just love to see him hit that Ray play, man. I would have just loved to hear the stadium erupt, get his confidence going, get a 60-70 yard tutty on his stats.
Yeah.
And so I was very, not to say disappointed with the backup QB play, but I just felt like you had to hit that one. You had to. I give him the one that earlier I think Josh Moore should have caught that. So I'm not as crazy going on Emory as all the other fans, but I would have just loved that. Other than that, I'm cool with it. I think a little bit of linebacker depth showed with West going out early. So I was happy to see, Chase Smith get out there and look serviceable. Not when you're just like, oh my God, it's versus Bethune, but just seeing him move, it's just like, oh my God, he's been hurt for like so long. And you get him out there and you're like, damn, he's big. He looks just like the D lineman out there. But you see him moving side to side with teams like Bethune, they're not going to overpower us. They're smaller, but they're fast. And for him to be able to keep up in that type of setting, means that, when the guys get bigger and the guys get a little faster, he's still going to be a key cog that you could rotate in if you need to. Looks like he's even surpassed Alderman in the rotation. By the way, he was kind of that next linebacker up, outside of obviously Popo. So it was nice to see. Don't forget about Hellcat, y'all boys. Chill. Pringle for sure looked good. And that blocking on the left side of the offensive line. Shout out to that right quick, because Emery had his hands up because you could look and see through the hole that there was nobody there. Yeah, shout out to the combo bucks. They had Matthew McCoy at left tackle right there, and he was just dogging. You had Pancake and Matthew McCoy at left side. Shout out to them boys. Because Pringle literally, and then you had Josh Moore and your tight end, freshman tight end, putting a block out there. Emery put his hands up and literally a second, he handed that ball off and was just like, he knew Pringle's speed was all she needed, for that. So great to see that. Also saw Hellcat make some plays, running people over. I think Jordan Lyle is going to be, back full go this week. So it's going to be hard to see any of those young backs get carries outside of, Fletcher, Marty Brown, and then now trying to get, Jordan Lyle back in the mix. So it's nice to see both the young running backs make some plays in the game, since playing time's probably not going to be that easy to come by. Maybe if this game gets out of hand, you saw Jordan Lyle kind of pop on the scene last year with the big run versus USF at the end of the game.
Right.
You can see something like that. But it's going to be harder to come by with 3 healthy backs at the top now.
Yeah, that's just the way it works, especially when you have when these guys are rolling, they haven't shown any sort of weaknesses in the armor, so they're going to be the guys at the top. I do want to go back to one thing real quick, Steve-O, because talking about the receivers and CJ and Mally and what they've been able to do. I'm going to throw a quick hypothetical at you, Steve-O. I'm going to let you think. I'm going to go to Bill first. I'm going to let you think for a second. Bill, right now, I'm telling you that you could trade this group of receivers we have right now for the group of receivers we had last year. Make that trade. Bill, do you make that trade? You just swap these guys for those guys. They just come in and play exactly as they did last year.
So
I don't want a whole thing, Bill. I want you concise, clean. I want you to be
no, because I think Mally and X kind of essentially cancel each other out, and then I think CJ is much better than either George or Horton, whoever that one is.
Yep. And now, what's on, Steve? What happened?
Yeah, 3 tutties in 2 games. You forgetting about the guy who's got 3 tutties in 1 game versus A&M at the crib. Yeah, bro, this recency bias is killing me, Smalls. You're killing me, Smalls.
Now, CF Game fan, it's not you trade for one guy. It's you trade the whole group. This whole group for that whole group. Steve-O, you traded this whole group for last year's whole group?
I mean, you guys got to think about this whole group. So this group is a little top heavy right now. We're waiting for somebody else to show. So right now, it's a debate whether you trade Mally and CJ for X, the leading receiver in University of Miami history. Not 2 games, not versus Notre Dame and versus Bethune. History. Jacoby George, who is, as long as you threw him the ball, was one of the most productive receivers in the ACC. Isaiah Horton, who was like that. Let's be real. And Sam Brown at the top with your young guys like JoJo. I'm sorry, there's more depth in that room last year. And I'm counting Arroyo as well, which I guess doesn't count, but I'm counting it.
Not counting Arroyo.
I'm counting Arroyo. I mean, he lined up in the slot so damn much. He even lined up outside. He was cooking DBs versus Wake Forest outside. He had a real cornerback debating whether he was going to be a tax accountant or real estate. After that game, he knew it was over.
All right, Steve. What if I make it just CJ and Mally for X and Jacoby?
I'm taking X and Jacoby.
I knew you would. I just wanted to see what you said. I just want to see if there was a second of
There's not a second of hesitation.
Okay.
But thankfully, I would never be in that position. But yeah.
chat was pretty solid on I wouldn't trade him. And yes, recency bias is definitely a part of it. And the thought of trading away Malachi Tony is like, I would never. Like our sweet precious 17-year-old Malachi. Like no, he's ours forever. Well, most likely 3 years. But like the thought of trading him is crazy. But still, like, I mean, it's nice to even have to think about it for a second with how many question marks we had. Or how many? I shouldn't say question marks because they were really our questions about the way the receiver group was gonna, were they gonna step up? Was it gonna click? And right now it's clicking. And a big part of why it's clicking is because of the offensive line and Carson Beck. And Carson Beck being as smooth and calm and confident as we've seen. But he will go.
I was gonna say we maybe haven't even seen the best receiver on the team because he's been banged up too in JoJo. So there's kind of that X factor there. No pun intended from the last conversation. But yeah, I mean I think it's an interesting debate. I feel like this group is actually kind of fits what Cam with what Carson Beck does and what he kind of needs in receivers. CJ will go up and get it. Mally's just open 24/7. So I think it kind of just fits with everything that we need at the moment.
No, let's not even mess around with this one.
Yeah,
That's not even. I mean, let's just be happy with where we are right now. Let's not mess around with it. We know how that goes. We know that goes. But anyway. I know, Steve-O. I'm not going to put him up because I know we're going to get mad. So I see him, Steve-O. We can't get locked into that right now.
Yeah,
but
recency biasness, like Jesus.
well, let's talk about some recency bias because for USF last year we saw Byron Brown get a chance, and we've seen him for a couple years. 2023, I remember talking on this very show about Byron Brown in 2023 about down the line. He might be one of those guys that ends up in the transfer portal, like headed over to Miami doing 1 year, one of those things. And then 2024 comes, he gets hurt, he breaks his leg after he played us, and then he was out for, the rest of the season. Then 2025 comes back. People kind of slept on Byron Brown for USF and the impact he could make, and he came back and Boise State smacked him. Smacked Boise State. Was played maybe his best game of football that he's played at the college level. In his first game back from a broken leg. Then he goes out and he beats Florida, and really kind of doing it all, like carrying that team on his back. Leads him in passing, obviously, leads him in rushing by a margin. So recency bias, Byron Brown looking like he might be one of the better quarterbacks in the whole country with how he's played so far. And on an offense that's not dripping with playmakers, as you there's a lot of talent to get, especially in the portal, but not right now for USF. So, I mean, we have Carson Beck, a guy that we've seen over the past couple of weeks really step into his own, and Byron Brown, a guy that has emerged. So, like, this is going to be the conversation, I would imagine, because you got two high-profile quarterbacks. But, Bill, go to you first. Like, what's the thoughts on Byron Brown and the impact he could have in this game this week?
Yeah, he's going to, I think, challenge this defense in ways they haven't been so far. You think about Notre Dame, how pretty much they were extraordinarily limited for at least half, maybe a little bit more than a half, and then obviously Bethune is Bethune. So I don't know if we really know what this defense quite is yet. We did see them stand up to Notre Dame's offensive line. We saw them dominate Notre Dame's offensive line, but just the overall tempo, right? I think USF is probably the first team to kind of expose that defense last year for that first half when kind of they figure, hey, if we put someone in motion, they don't know what they're doing. I'm kind of curious to see how Heatherman responds to that as well as the tempo. But Brown is kind of a good test for us to kind of get us going because you have Lagway coming at some point. And then you got Castellanos coming too. So, these next, 3 games is just, quarterbacks that can move. And, that's what you have to defend in modern college football. So he presents a challenge. The offensive line for USF, that's something that's a matchup we should, dominate. But then again, Florida was saying the same thing. And, we kind of saw how that worked out. So it'll be a challenge. It's definitely not a gimme, but it's definitely a game Miami, should win. fairly comfortably.
Yeah, real quick, to your point, with them going in motion and us having no idea. I'm thinking back to the amount of times we had to look at poor
Daryl Porter.
like we had like a lot of guys that were like put in really bad spots, but I'm thinking about Kiko out there, who we were like, oh my gosh, like constantly covering backs, covering slot receivers, doing what he shouldn't. And then where was he this past weekend? His first NFL game, he got a lot of snaps playing in the National Football League. And you had fans like, oh, we got to bench him, we got to this, we got to that. We wasted him. Wasted him his last year as a Hurricane. Guys already out there getting good snaps for an NFL team. And the NFL team that is the Jets, so let's not go crazy, but an NFL team nonetheless.
That was a rough NFL week 1 for the two of you. Meanwhile, the Jags are on their way to the Super Bowl.
Yeah, we're tanking for Arch.
You're tanking like 3 years in advance.
We tanking for Arch. Oh my god. Even joking, that sounds terrible.
But Steve, Bill's right. That USF was a team that gave us some trouble early in that game. I know how it ended up, but it wasn't quite so smooth from the very beginning of that one. But your thoughts on what Byron Brown can bring in this game and against the defense? I know it was Notre Dame. We didn't really expect it from Carr, but that has had some issues with the quarterback run.
Mohamed Toure. That boy flying after quarterbacks, and he's a heat-seeking missile. I'm expecting him to have a big game if we want to contain Byron Brown. He was probably one of the hotter names of a G5 quarterback, maybe potentially hitting that portal to go up the last few years. Some injuries slowed that, but the talent level has always been there. He's kind of already had national buzz before, so he's not a brand new name to people. He's a name that, kind of went away last year, but now you still had that recognition. But definitely I'm looking at Wesley Saints to come back to this game and understand that he has to be an impact player. Mohamed Toure has to understand that, he's probably going to be the deciding factor of how useful Byron Brown is with his legs. So I'm expecting him to make some plays. He's probably going to rush for some first downs that keep their drives alive. I don't think they have the receiver talent to win on the route concepts that they run, but they might make a play or two. They got some speed, but I just don't see us not handing out straight business. Florida's offensive cohesion on the offensive line was terrible. They couldn't pound their guards weren't getting up to linebackers. The tape is terrible. I think our offensive line is going to be able to bully them. So like last year, yeah, they kind of had it close, 30-15 half or 21, whatever at half, 15 and a half. And then you saw what the second half did because we wore them down. And you'll see something very similar this week. I think we're just going to pound it down their throat. And if they want to stack the box and stop the run and just live and die on the outside, I think we'll take full advantage of that.
I think that's probably kind of a good segue, right? I don't want to take any credit away from USF. They went out there that they won it. But just the overall sloppiness of the Gators. I don't know if, you could point to one or two things. You could point to probably like 6 or 7 things from the Gators that, hey, if that goes differently or they don't do that, the Gators probably win. But, credit to USF. I mean, they stood in there when they needed it. They got that extra 15 yards for the spitting incident, which is, probably the second worst penalty that a Florida Gator has taken, right next to throwing the shoe that cost them games. But when USF needed it, they went right down the field, kicked that field goal and stunned them. But just an overall embarrassing loss for Florida, considering what the expectations were, and probably where they're going now. But it's just it's going to be tough. I think it's going to be tough maybe for maybe half or so, but I think we just overwhelm them in the trenches. I think it's going to be we're going to be saying that a lot this year.
Yeah, that's where it's going to live and die at. This is what Coach Mario built the roster to dominate in the trenches, so we could be in any game, no matter what name brand they're throwing at us. We could play anybody, Georgia, Texas. Oregon looks insane right now. What they did to Oklahoma State was crazy. But you didn't watch that game think, oh, we can't compete with these guys. Oklahoma State was just that bad, in my opinion. So there's not any team that I'm scared of with the type of trenches that Coach Mario has built. We'll be able to compete. We'll be able to hang, in any game. So expect us to just rely heavily on that and let skilled players make skilled plays. If we run the ball down their throat with Jordan Lau, Marty Brown, Mark Fletcher, we're going to definitely make plays, get Mally the ball. We'll get CJ the ball. They're going to get their touches. I'm looking to see who's going to be that third guy to step up. You guys were talking about trading, or not trading for last year's group, but there was 6 certified pass catchers on last year's group. So we need to, some guys need to start stepping up and making plays, whether it's going to be JoJo getting back into the rhythm, whether it's going to be Lofton, taking up that really, really big shoes of Arroyo just because of how much people had a game plan for that. I mean, like a 4-4 legit tight end, that's just a problem. And so really got to see guys step up. Who's going to be that guy? Is it going to be, a guy like Joshua Moore just taking that next step that they're giving him those snaps early as a freshman, or is a redshirt freshman going to step up? It doesn't matter which it is. We just need somebody to step up because we have 3 running backs. You don't want to be 3 running backs and 2 top receivers. In this type of offense, you want to be at least 4 to 5 receivers deep, especially with the amount of rotation we're doing. So Ray step up. I think he should have got hit last time. So that's out of his control. He can only control what he can control. But we need guys to start stepping up as pass catchers outside of that. So I'm hoping we run the ball down their throat. But I'm hoping that I know we're going to run the ball down their throat and a lot of things like that, physicality. But I am definitely looking and anticipating somebody makes a play at receiver outside of Mally and CJ because you just got to see it.
I think, yes, now that the cat's out of the bag with Mally, right, you're probably going to start to see some different things thrown at us, to take him away, which is crazy, considering he's a 17-year-old true freshman. But that's just going to give opportunities for whoever that third wide receiver is or the tight ends. So as we kind of progress through the schedule, Dawson's going to have to adjust, but Beck's going to have to adjust. But one thing you can't really adjust for is, just getting beat up front. So, that's the benefit of having a Mario Cristobal as your head coach is, you're going to have that as your option.
Right. And something I took note of in those first couple games is, say what you want about USF and like Boise State, not as good as you thought, Florida, not as good as you thought. USF, did a solid job defensively, taking advantage of mistakes that were made, but not a team that, forced a ton of turnovers, not a team that got a bunch of sacks, wreaked havoc with their defensive line. I mean, 2 sacks in 2 games for their defense. So now put that up against the Miami offensive line where, like, if there was a game where Mario was going to be like, all right, run the ball, set a tone, push them around, this is going to be a great opportunity to do it. And getting all those extra guys up, like chances too, the extra linemen. So we are already back where we were last year with having a bunch of different guys that rotated and got to see some time there too. So like ability to build some confidence through the run game and do that certainly is effective. Sorry I jumped out. My son was just sleepwalking around the house, so I had to go. Heard people wandering around upstairs. I was like, what the hell's happening? So we got him. We got him back where he had to go. So, so big picture thoughts about this game. I mean, Miami, obviously it's one of those like no-win situations where Miami loses. Everybody is online. But this is a USF team that, like we said at the beginning, getting a decent amount of attention, a national spotlight, a coach that's getting a lot of attention, a national spotlight. He's already at the top of a lot of these lists. If USF can, like people saying USF, maybe they're a sneaky college football playoff contender if they could keep going, blah, blah, blah. So that opportunity for Miami, I think Steve said before, to kind of crush that spirit, crush that dream, certainly here. A spot like this one is something we definitely want to talk about. But before we move go ahead, Bill.
I would say even, regardless of if they lose to us, like they're still going to be the favorite as to be the G5 representative in the playoff, with, wins over Boise, Florida, they go on to win their conference, which isn't a gimme, right? Tulane, I believe even Memphis might have a say in that as well. But this is the win where it's kind of, you're not going to get credit for the win, but later down the road when they putting the resumes up on the TV and everyone's chanting SEC and Big Ten, and maybe they're the third or fourth ranked win that we have, and maybe that could help propel us to maybe a higher seed. It could be the difference between a home game and going on the road or whatever the case may be. So getting a bye. So no credit in the moment if you win, and we'll celebrate it, of course. But nationally, I don't really know if it's going to move the needle. But it could be a data point later down the road.
Something I think about too. Like we beat Notre Dame, and a lot of people said it's the best defense we're going to play all year. We win this game. I know it's going to sound odd considering some guys we play coming up, but I think this is the best quarterback we're playing all year, personally. And that's you want to say Lagway.
No, I'm definitely not saying Lagway. But I might say Tommy Castellanos or
on principle. I'm not saying him.
Jennings, maybe.
Jennings,
and I think I was gonna say Jennings overrated for sure, but he's definitely talented.
Yeah, and I know last year we used him. The kid from Pitt hasn't been bad.
He's been low key balling, yo. He's low key balling, and we don't play Boston College this year, do we?
No Boston College.
Oh yeah, their quarterback's nice. That's why Tommy Castellanos had to hit it. Because Bill O'Brien's more of a passing scheme for sure, so he just didn't fit it. But yeah, he's looking good. ACC always has a good crop of quarterbacks, man. We know when, unfortunately, as Miami fans, that some of these quarterbacks just look like Joe Montana versus us. So you really can't underestimate any quarterback.
Yeah. So we'll see how it all shakes out through the course of the year. But before we were to go, like the last thing we could talk about really with this game is the predictions. But before we talk about that, we got to look back to last week, and I'm feeling really good about this prediction from last week.
I'm out. I said 55-6, so I'm probably done.
Probably zero.
Here we go. So our fan of the week, which was Redhead Kane, had a 70-3 prediction.
Not gonna do it.
That was like 25 points off. Steve-O, you were 13 points off. And for the second consecutive week, both of us were under 10, which is usually the sweet spot for a win.
Usually.
And I did say that Bryce Fitzgerald interception was the difference, because if Bethune scores that touchdown, I win easily. Easily with like a 1 or 2 point difference. But Chris is only off by 3 points this week, which I think might be like the best one we've had in like a year.
Yeah, sniper. That's back-to-back weeks.
Off to a 2-0 start here. 2-0.
And I thought Miami was going to score at the end. Going to kick the field goal. Like we could have been like we were right there. We were right there.
I don't know if it wouldn't have mattered.
Great job. Great job by me again. 3 points off.
My streak is in jeopardy.
Feeling pretty good. I just need a couple fan wins in here, a couple Steve-O wins, and then just mix it up a little bit. I'm rolling to this. I'm only going to get like 4, I think. I'm going to get 4 wins this year. So if I just keep like a little bit of the riff-raff around, no offense, Steve-O, we got this thing. Oh, that's excellent. Well, how about the other thing, the crazy pick?
All right, crazy predictions. Chris had a defensive lineman tutty. That did not happen. Steve-O had 3 quarterbacks with a touchdown. We didn't even get 3 quarterbacks on the field. I had a one-handed touchdown, which CJ did have a nice touchdown catch, but it wasn't one hand. So, and then you Canes fan, you had a Pringle screen for 80. Which did not happen. So really no one even that close, I guess.
I was actively waiting for like Pringle to break like a 78-yard screen or an 81-yard like just I don't know, like a flat pass or something that we couldn't go on screen.
Yeah, a wheel around the back wheel for 90.
All right, so a lot of losses except for me, obviously winning that one. So now as champion, I also will choose that I go last because I'm just making up rules as I go. So I don't know. Steve-O, go ahead, give me you guys. And if you're in the chat, feel free to throw it.
I'm gonna go 45-13 Miami. I think we thumped them, and outside of a couple first downs that the quarterback's able to scrounge out with his legs. It's not going to be consistent offense. So 45-13.
Bill, what you got?
I thought you were going to go first.
I was thinking about it, but I thought I had something there for a second, but I got too much math to do.
I'm going to go 33-17.
I'll let some more stuff go into the chat a little bit. Anybody else has a prediction?
So I see 45-17, 47-10.
Yeah, we got two right now.
Yeah, drop them in.
45-17. Be
We'll
hard.
wait for all three of us to put them in before we pick one out the chat. Let them come in.
I feel like it's going to be a lower scoring game because of how Miami's going to play it. So I don't want to say it's a 40 because I think that they'll just grind them out and just beat them to death with the run game. I'm going to go 38 to 17. 38-17.
Very similar.
What'd you say, Bill?
33-17.
I like it. Like it right there, Bill. I like that spot. Bill or Steve, would you say 75-3? What'd you say?
35-17. If
Is that what Steve said?
35 or less, I win.
You said 35-17?
No, I said 45-17.
Oh, all right.
I said 45-13.
Okay.
Yeah,
all right.
45-13.
Okay, I got you. All right, I put myself in a really bad spot, I think, numbers-wise, but that's all right. Champs got to take chances. That's how we win. That's how we win trophies.
We got 3 predictions to choose from in the chat.
All right.
Quiet week this week.
45-17. B Harp 47-10. Caesar 42-17. All right. I don't know because we have so many 17s. I think I'm gonna go with another 17 because it's stupid and funny to do that. Let's go CF Kane fan. Go 45-17.
All right, we can do it. See if Kane fan is always in the chat. Definitely show some love. Put them up there. Put them on the board.
All right, now for the flip side of it, we have to pick out crazy prediction we see. See if Kane fans already got his in. If you have a crazy prediction for this one, something ridiculous thing's going to happen, throw that out there as well.
All right, I'll go first. A wide receiver will score a rushing touchdown.
Wide receiver will score a rushing touchdown. Okay. That's actually a good one, Bill. Usually I don't give you any credit, but that's actually a good one. That's a good one where it's it sounds like a good wild thing to happen, but it really isn't that crazy.
We really don't run too many reverses, but hey, we'll see.
It could even be a little
it could be a swing. Yeah, it could be a swing pass as long as it's behind the quarterback. That's a rush attempt.
It's not where I was going, but yeah, I'll take it.
I'm gonna say another defensive line interception. Someone on the D line is gonna come up with an INT.
Okay.
All right, I'm gonna go. We're gonna have 2 strip sacks. 2 strip sacks. 2 strip sacks by the defensive line.
Okay. And then we need a.
CF Kane's got a kick return touchdown and a punt return touchdown. B Harp 3 defensive scores. Fort Knox 2 defensive scores. K-Dub is just going along with the idea that he's going to score the rushing touchdown, but I just like that you said Ray. Let's see how smooth picture there. I see how smooth picture is Jeremiah Smith committing to the U.
It's probably the first game where everybody is in the same ballpark.
Yeah,
The scores.
I don't like that at all. I'm also concerned I haven't seen bagging up throw prediction in. Oh, here we go. Look at Michelle coming in with the haymaker. Kicker bobbles the kick and runs it in for a touchdown.
I'm just gonna write kicker touchdown because I can't fit it on the paper.
Yeah, kicker. Some sort of miscue on a field goal. I will also allow, if it's okay with you guys, I will allow like a point after miscue. Point after miscue that gets run in.
The kicker has to do it, not
the kicker. The kicker's got to
whole...
run it in. So he's got to toss it to the kicker. Kicker's got to figure it out himself.
I like it.
Yahweh son. Pitt's big six is another good one. But anyway, so we're gonna go with Michelle. We'll give her the nod on that one too. There we go. So we have some good options for crazy plays. We got some good score predictions. We got a good game. All lining up 4:30 on Saturday. Leading into prime time. So I'll go ahead and call it a prime time matchup because why not? And no one's checking me on this stuff. Do whatever I want.
An early evening prime time game.
Yeah, like a good time for you're getting some food delivered to the house. Like you're getting that food delivered to the house for 5:30, like right around halftime. Like then bang, halftime hits. You got your wings, you got your pizza, whatever it is, and you're rolling fully energized into the second half. That's a great one. I think that's a great time for it. Or if you're at the game, it might be even better because then halftime's going to come in right about when you're probably getting hungry after the tailgate. 6 o'clock ish, it's perfect time to go get a little snack, or maybe for Steve-O, go get some Dippin' Dots.
Maybe the CW is onto something with this 4:30 kickoff.
I like it. I've long thought that you really should stagger at start times. There's no reason not to stagger start times for college and the NFL. I know that they do it because whatever their TV contract stuff is, but if you start
12,
a game.
1, 2, 3, 4, and just go all the way.
I started 11.
10
Start
o'clock.
some of those games at 11 o'clock, and then college game day could cover some of the stuff that's already going on. Start at 11. Those Dublin games that start at 9 or whatever. That's the best. I love that stuff for college. I love it in the pros too.
Yeah, it's cool. And CW is just imagine last week. Games on ACC Network Extra or whatever the thing is. You can't see that. CW is if our non-conference G5 games but the FCS opponent games would be on CW. I'm more than cool with that just because it's so easily accessible.
Yeah.
And it was obviously I don't know if he's going to be on the call this week, but last week it was RG3. But he was it was the Baylor SMU game. Obviously he was a Baylor guy. He won the Heisman there. But it just didn't have that feel of ESPN or these national agendas that they push down your throat every, the whole entire game outside of the game they're watching. They're always pushing SEC propaganda, all this type of stuff. So it was just literally two guys chilling, watching football with a girl on the sideline reporting. So I was cool with it.
It's going to be Thom Brenneman and Will Blackman.
That's fine. I do not know. Yeah, I don't know much about Will Blackman, but I know Thom Brenneman and.
Is that the cornerback from Boston College?
It has to be, right?
Yeah, it's not the receiver from Oklahoma State. I'll tell you that.
That's Justin Blackman.
Okay.
Sour spot for old Bill there. Yeah, it's got to be the corner, right?
Yeah, that's him. Yeah.
Right.
That's cool. Yeah. But yeah. Former player and a guy who's been doing it a long time. I'll take that all day.
Good point, Gio King. Good point. But anyway, that'll do it for us here on the show. It's another exciting week. A chance for Miami to put up another statement there heading into, these battles of Florida, beat USF. Then you got a couple more big ones on the line. So just keep it consistent. Keep this thing moving forward. See where Miami can get to. But before we get out of here, Bill, final thoughts for the people.
It'll be another fun weekend of college football. It's kind of crazy, sitting here week 3 talking about how this game is essentially bigger than the UF game in terms of rankings, which is crazy. But yet here we are. College football is crazy like that, so I'm here for it. It's gonna be a good one. Enjoy it,
especially this year. This year, say what you want, but there's no overwhelming team out there in college football right now. There's no, it's this team or these two teams and everybody else. And if someone says that there is, they're lying to you because It's not feeling that way in college football. I mean, you look across the national landscape at the quarterback position. There is a very reasonable argument to say that Carson Beck right now is perhaps the best quarterback in college football. I think there's an argument for that because a lot of the other guys that said, oh, it's going to be him, are not playing well at all. I like the kid from Ole Miss, Austin Simmons, the lefty, the big kid, and he had a terrible game this past week against Kentucky. So, like, Arch Manning, we know how that story's going. It's probably Carson Beck and John Mateer as the two guys that people probably would argue for the most passionately.
Yeah, him and there's some tier 2 guys. The guy who's playing at Tulane because he got some he got some cheeks at BYU. He's pretty good.
Jake Retzlaff,
yeah, he would be in that conversation. Baylor's quarterback is like that, bro. I was watching him versus Auburn. Yo, they was tearing them boys up, bro. And he had no time in that pocket, and he was tearing them boys up. And he looked good versus SMU. So he's going to be a name on the rise for sure. But yeah, I think Carson Beck with other than maybe Oregon, who's going to have some propaganda pushing for their young quarterback Dante Moore. We'll see how he looks when they face somebody. But yeah, I think Carson Beck has the clearest path for, Cam Moore didn't win the Heisman last year, but if Carson Beck can put up a similar stat line to that, he might be in that conversation. There's no Alvin Gentry in this class. There's no, Travis Hunter for sure in this class. Yeah. So this is the season. If you're the top quarterback, you're most likely winning the Heisman. So that's all in front of Beck right now.
See if they'll play it out. But Steve, besides that, final thoughts for the people.
Pack the rock. If you're not, watch the game, please. I know you guys are going to watch it anyway. But yeah, enjoy. I think it's going to be, a good time to watch this family day. So bring the kids, bring everybody to the stadium. And yeah, go Canes. Stay dry. It's been raining every single day. I would just love for it not to rain Saturday, but I've learned not to just put myself into false hopes like that. So just be safe when you're out there tailgating. Bring some ponchos. So I seen some tents breaking last week. Make sure you push that water out, y'all. It's not just up there and staying up there permanently. Go ahead and push that water out. Your tent seen like 2 or 3 tents taken out. So I was just like noob. But other than that, I felt kind of bad for him. But yeah, just stay dry and yeah, get to the Canes game and pack the rock.
Poor Knox, what color are the boys wearing?
Sure, orange over white.
I feel like orange over white is kind of like what Mario wants to do the majority of the time. So,
well, they have green in their uniform, so I knew we weren't going to bust out the green. I think Florida next week, because their away uniform is white and orange. I think that's the perfect time to bust out the green over white or the all green. So we'll see. Once we go to Florida State, we'll probably be walking white over orange. Our first road game, white over orange, maybe all white, but most likely white over orange. So yeah, probably orange over white this week. Just 3 games in a row, get it out the system. Mario likes that combination. I don't mind it. He won a natty in it, so it probably means a lot to him. Yeah. But next week, with Florida coming in with that orange and white uniform as their away set, I would be surprised to see us maybe opt to the green, which I'm a fan of. I'm a fan of the green, so I'm waiting for that.
Reasonable. We real quick, only say the answer, nothing else. Bill, you like the Stormtrooper or you like the white over orange old school? Bill?
Trooper.
Steve-O?
I like orange over orange.
I love the Stormtrooper, but I think I like the throwback. Look, Stormtroopers are great for like a once a season, like, oh, we're going Stormtroopers. How about this, Steve-O? I know Bill can. What game am I thinking of where we were the Stormtroopers and we annihilated somebody? I know Bill knows the game I'm thinking of.
Wasn't Duke? Well, we did rock that. Well, we didn't annihilate them. Louisville, 2020.
Way back.
Further back.
Yeah.
They didn't
Not
start
like
calling
not
it.
like 80s or anything crazy.
Oh yeah, but they didn't start. I was about to say they started calling it Stormtroopers till like Mark Ritt era. Danny,
No, they called it for this one. It's like 06, I want to say.
oh man,
It was a big. I know you knew this game, Steve-O. It's not a random game.
I'm questioning myself. I don't want to say it.
06. I'm sorry, I just don't know the schedule of 06 like that.
Was it the Marcus Vick game?
Yeah, the Marcus Vick game.
Oh, VT. Okay.
Yeah. Love
Stomp
that
that boy out in the bottom of the pile.
game. Love that game.
Should have
Anyway.
been talking ish.
Yep. It happens.
You're not your bro, my boy.
Also, Bill's frozen right now, which is funny. Anyway, let's see. Port Knox knew. He knew the deal. But anyway, we're going to get out of here. Thank you guys for watching the show. We appreciate you guys taking the time to do that here on a Wednesday night. Make sure you watch the game 4:30 this weekend, or go to the game if you have the ability to do so. Hopefully Miami puts it up another victory against another Florida school and heads on to play the University of Florida, still undefeated the week after that. So anyway, thank you guys for watching the show. Thank you to everybody at CanesInSight for letting us do the show on the channel. We appreciate you guys. We'll see you again next week right here on 3 Live Canes. Have a good week.
This is for the national championship for Nebraska.
He's a stud, that Brown, number 98.
Irvin's got it. Irvin's free. Slips to the outside, tries to stiff arm, but he couldn't get by Ray Lewis.
Big time players. Step up in big games.
Hurt, dog. Don't ask me if I'm all right.